Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. My name is Serpentine, your guide through the game of life, and today we are here to talk about Venus in Scorpio. As you can see here, for Venus in Scorpio, we have deep revelations, catalyze, emotional cleansing, stay woke, as deep secrets are revealed within and without. Many are walking away from something they invested in financially/emotionally, but met with loss and disappointment. A time for healing past wounds and relationships by opening up to deeper intimacy. Cultivate discernment around false light as high-profile individuals are exposed. Detox of distorted feminine energy. Next level awakenings. One of the biggest takeaways from this for me, even just like looking at the chart and looking at the cards that I drew for this pre-stream divination, is with Mars currently transiting in sidereal Cancer and Mars being the ruler of Scorpio, this to me is creating this kind of funnel of energy whereby a lot is coming up in the collective around the mother wound and distorted feminine energy. Because like Mars is debilitated in Cancer, and Cancer of course is ruled by the moon, and it's like all about the mother and stuff like that. So, and the homeland to a certain extent. And so I do think that there's an overall impulse towards detoxing distorted feminine energy and detoxing the mother wound and things around like guilt and judgment and shame and that kind of thing. And that in clearing that, it's going to open up your heart to be able to cultivate deeper intimacy in relationships. And also in conjunction with all of this, there is this overall vibe of like secrets coming out and like information coming out, shadow revelations and stuff like that are also at play with this energy. Because again, Scorpio is a sign that's about the occult, secrets, you know, the things that we try to hide from ourselves and other people. And obviously part of intimacy is being able to open up and share the sides of ourselves that we maybe are not wanting to fully own or claim or whatever. It's a good time to do that within your own self, like with your relationship to yourself, and also in the context of like other people, and knowing when to walk away from things that ultimately aren't serving you and your highest evolution, especially with that Jupiter retrograde energy, because obviously Venus is the ruler of Taurus, where Jupiter is, and Jupiter in Taurus is opposing Venus now. So there is this kind of like interesting relationship that's going on there in terms of how this is having an effect on how we are reshaping our life according to our values and stuff like that. Again, if you want to learn more about the Jupiter retrograde part 1, you can find that video in my channel also. And yeah, cultivate discernment around false light as high profile individuals are exposed. So like this is a time where we might just be seeing, you know, people getting taken down a notch, people like the truth about certain people coming out when they maybe marketed themselves as being another way and that kind of thing. And ultimately, Scorpio is the solar plexus chakra, and that is like a place where discernment is cultivated in many ways, because it's about, are we able to trust our gut? Are we able to know if something feels right and discern that through our own experiences and having like metabolized experiences and gone through the shadow work that we need to do in order to like sharpen our sort of discernment and stuff like that. So that's kind of the vibes going into all of this. And now we are going to get into what the cards have to say. So this is already extremely interesting because it's kind of like the blurb has told us what's happening on an kind of emotional level. And this is kind of talking a little bit about how that's going to be translating like a bit more practically. For the underlying energy, we have 7 of Wands, which is basically just saying like we know that things are super intense right now and that you're really feeling the pressure of the times. For some people, obviously this is going to really depend on like where Scorpio is for you specifically and how that's interfacing with the other things that are going on. This of course could just be in relation to your relationships. Like there could be tension in a certain relationship that is being highlighted by this, or just in general, it could be a financial tension that you're going through because Venus has to do with finances, or you're feeling the pressure of your own rebirth because like this is kind of, you know, the death rebirth vibes right now. And this can be the pressure simply of, you know, when you are giving birth, like the contractions of like yourself coming into the new reality. So however this is appearing for you, they just kind of want to you to understand that they know that this is kind of underlying what all is going on that we're going to be talking about, which is that for awareness, we have Page of Pentacles, and this card has Stevie Nicks on it, and I often consider this card to be related in a way to the power of the voice and the word, and the way that when you are when you have a powerful voice and a power behind your words, that is how manifestations can come into solid form. Like, you know, in the beginning there was the word or whatever, and how sound can ultimately like be condensed into form, like through cymatics and stuff like that. With this Page of Pentacles, it's talking a bit about like, be aware of the opportunities that are coming into play for you right now that are tangible, either that you are creating yourself through your own creative self-expression in some sort of practical or tangible way, or it could be that you receive some new job opportunity, some new relationship opportunity, some new financial opportunity, something like that could be dropping in this time frame. And I do really want to quickly go and show you what this time frame is and everything, because I never did that. This is October 12th through November 6th, and you can see here with the star that's like the glowing star, that's where Scorpio is. And then the two hollow stars are the houses, the signs that Venus rules. Inky Heel says, I got a fantastic reading from Serpentine on Saturday. Absolutely recommend. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be of service. And if you want to book a session with me, find that link in the bio. Yeah, it might be that these opportunities come out of the blue because we have this Venus-Uranus opposition happening right now during this time. And even though there's a lot of pressure at play, it can be that some things just like pop out of nowhere, especially because, and this is sort of like a bit of a flash forward to the oracles, but we have Hathor coming in as receptivity, and we also have at the bottom of the deck receiving. So I do think that there is an element of being open to receive new opportunities coming your way that are coming into your awareness, potentially suddenly out of the blue, kind of as a result of some of the energetic pressure that's like kind of popping the cork off a little bit of this whole time period and situation. It's also just a time to really be bold in your own self-expression of what it is that you are like needing to say to people, because again, this is a time of deep revelation, and so it may be that you are the one who are having to reveal things that require you to show up and like be in your truth and power in order to do so in a way that is like in your integrity and stuff like that. And it could be that, you know, some of what you are coming forth and saying is what is catalyzing an emotional cleansing for someone else and stuff like that. For integration, we have Two of Pentacles, and this card you can see actually has the planet Jupiter on it, and it has a person with the lower body of a serpent, which is very much like K2. And now I remember why I went over there. Okay, now I have to go back. Something to pay attention to with this is Jupiter here with Uranus is aspecting Venus in Scorpio, but it's also aspecting, by its fifth special aspect, K2. We'll just put it over here for a second. K2 here in Virgo with the sun. And so there is a element of like, and this came through in another reading I did recently, which is like past life activations coming in that you are synthesizing with things that are happening now. And this can be something that's happening like consciously on your part. Like if you're somebody who is already doing like some of the mystical art stuff, this could be something that just naturally comes up for you. Or it could just be like, you know, random stuff that you don't necessarily associate with that, but like if you were to look into it, it would be related to that. Sparkle says, aka me getting a super last minute gig for an artist I don't know out of any I've never played. Exactly. And it's up to us to be able to like accept these opportunities for what they are, because they're, I think, probably going to be helping us navigate some of the intensity that's going on in the collective and in our own lives as we are kind of bridging worlds from the old world and the old way of being and the new way. This is, of course, being highlighted by this full moon we're having right now in sidereal Aries, and that, of course, is in the first nakshatra of Ashwini, which is talking about things that are manifesting quickly, energies that are picking up the pace, needing to kind of externalize your self now after some time of introspection, although the introspection and self-discovery will continue. But I do think for integration, it's going to be important to, with this Two of Pentacles in general, really embrace the inner expansion that's happening right now in relation to this whole Jupiter in Taurus situation retrograde, and also on a practical level, just being able to safely and adequately and intentionally prioritize and juggle the various different things that you have going on, even though it's going to be like a little bit, you might be feeling the heat a little bit. It's just going to be one of those things where like you just need to kind of tap into your heart space and trust that you, if you're being handed whatever opportunity, job, situation, or if you feel like you are having to like show up and speak your truth in some sort of fashion to reveal something, that you are able to deal with the various like tasks and minutia that arise out of what that incites and instigates or whatever in your experience. Another thing that I want to also talk about briefly before I go to the other screen is we have Saturn up here. You can see where I put the star in Aquarius, and Saturn is also aspecting Scorpio by its 10th special aspect. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spaces all the way around to go here. And so that means that Saturn and Jupiter are both aspecting this Venus in Scorpio here. So there is a pretty significant influence also, aside from like Uranus here, you know, there's a pretty significant influence of these two big hefty retrograde outer planets on like what's happening here. I mentioned that because later on there is some reference to the Saturn thing going on here, but I'll get to that later. But I did want to point it out while I was still on this screen. So we are getting these opportunities presented to us in some way, or we are creating our own opportunity in some way through our own self-expression, or we're showing up to kind of be some sort of like truth exposing agent, and we're dealing with the responsibilities of what is connected to that, essentially. And for choice, we have the Hermit in reverse, and this is talking a bit about the ongoing shift from like inner work to outer externalization of said inner work. And obviously, like I said earlier, like there are still some ongoing retrograde energies at play here during this time. However, it does feel in general that this reading is talking a lot about like the practical reality of what this transit is going to be bringing about. And it does feel like this transit is going to require us to kind of be in our more active mode in order to best take advantage of these opportunities, and also in order to best kind of like mitigate whatever situation is going on. Like, you could be feeling like there's either a lot of competition that you're facing and you feel a lot of pressure from that, or maybe you're feeling like there's a lot of fires going on around you and you need to like keep putting these fires out and that kind of thing while you're having to deal with like new opportunities that you want to make the most of. And so this is really kind of just about like, if you've been feeling like this eclipse season, you've been under a rock a little bit, you're going to start to come out from under the rock and like, just be seen more and be out more. And I think it's going to be important to really embrace that. Like, this Page of Pentacles has a vibe of like, I'm here, I'm ready to be seen. Like, behold me, Stevie Nicks. Like, I've been through some shit, but like, I'm out on the other side and I'm, you know, here with my parrot, like ready to rock, you know. There's that kind of vibe to it. And I think that ultimately it's going to be pretty cathartic, because for result, we have 10 of Swords in reverse. And this is talking about putting an end to a pretty significant long-running cycle and just kind of like finally taking some of the, like, just like taking the swords out of your back. Like, you have already been through the worst, it feels. Like, if you've had a particularly challenging eclipse season, it kind of feels like this is the time where you are in the aftercare. Like, I even kind of mentioned that with the Jupiter retrograde video too, so this is kind of like overlapping themes, but like, this is the time where like you are in the aftercare and you can kind of unclench a little bit, that even though there's like residual intensity, and there will still be considerable intensity in the collective as we approach this whole election situation, whole other topic, but like in terms of like your own like more close to home situation, this is going to be a time where you're going to be moving into an era of like recovery through the leaving behind of what is no longer serving you, or what is just like kind of already dead and done, and having a cathartic opportunity to release the past through showing up for your future in the present, if that makes sense. And again, for some of these oracles, like I mentioned earlier, we have Hathor, receptivity, allow yourself to receive. This will increase your intuition, energy, and ability to give to others. So again, even though you might be a person who is creating some stuff and creating your own opportunities, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're the only person to rely on. Like, there's an element of that is in itself magnetic, where it's like you are vibrating in the frequency of the person who you want to become, who is somebody who like receives opportunities as a result of what it is that they are also creating and stuff like that. So it's kind of both. And also from my Sacred Rebels deck, we have Bring It Into Form. And this is interesting because it has the feet on it. And one of the big eclipse themes is we have the eclipse in Purva Bhadrapada, and we have Rahu in Uttara Bhadrapada, and they are symbolized by feet because they're like the foot of the funeral cot. So it's like you're walking away from the deathbed and you're going into the new life. And this is like a call to action in a way, to where it's like, yeah, you can receive opportunities, but it's also going to be a great opportunity to start to create those things that have been on the back burner. Okay, this is where it gets like really esoteric. We have Bat in reverse, and this can talk about like feeling still a little bit insecure around not knowing where you're going, you know? Bats rely on echolocation. So like, this is a time to really focus on listening and not necessarily trusting that things are what they appear to be on the surface, and allowing yourself to be led in like very intuitively, even if it feels a bit foreign, or if you are feeling vulnerable due to the pressures that you're under, or like the vulnerable due to feeling not secure in your identity because you're still in the reboot process and stuff like that. Like, this is an initiation into a whole new unknown. Like, we're in this liminal zone between worlds. And so it's just going to be important to remember that, you know, it's normal for there to be fluctuations in your energetic state, and to not sweat the small stuff and stuff like that. Darkness. letting go, death leading to rebirth. What were you just talking about, Scorpio? It's very Scorpionic. Before emerging, the bat waits for the sun to set and the moon to rise. In the darkness, it can see all that was invisible in the daylight hours. The bat is a master of the subtle senses, of the underlying forces that cause some things to prosper and others to fade. The bat card shows up to signify the ending of a chapter, the closing of a door. The bat comes swiftly, encouraging us to move on. In just a few hours, a new day dawns. No more lingering in the past. What did I even just say in the freaking thing? Many are walking away from something they invested in financially / emotionally, but met with loss, disappointment. Time for healing past wounds and relationships by opening up deeper intimacy. We are moving on. When out of balance, because it did appear reversed, refuses to let go / reminisces. Yeah. When in balance, accepts, adapts, and adjusts. And that's also a part of receiving, is being in acceptance of what is, because if you're in resistance to that, you can't really receive in a certain sense, energetically. To bring into balance, watch the sunrise. So yeah, I would say like, you know, that's a practical thing to do. But I think in general, it's like, trust that it's always darkest before the dawn. And like I was saying earlier, I do think that with this 10 of Swords in reverse, which is very much about like those final letting go, there is a catharsis in this, even if it's still hard to deal with emotionally, or you have some stuff coming up emotionally that wants to kind of be cleared from the system before you can kind of move on, officially speaking. But the really juicy information here is from my Sacred Rebels Oracle deck. We have Karmic Path, which appeared in reverse. It has Saturn on it. And what was I just saying about Saturn? Aspecting from Sidereal Aquarius in Shatabishak Nakshatra, which has to do with really very deep healing. And interestingly enough, we have Atlantean era appearing from my Galactic Heritage deck in reverse, and then True Compassion upright. And this is really interesting to me because this is talking about, with Karmic Path in reverse, Atlantean era in reverse, and this 10 of Swords in reverse. This is like really in many ways talking about how we are healing ancient fallen Atlantean timelines with the influence of this Saturn aspect. And it's also aspecting Leo, which is the age of Leo, is like the time frame during which Atlantis was kind of vibing historically. And so when I see this here, it's like we aren't just clearing stuff from this lifetime, like we are clearing a lot of really ancient shit with this. Like the ancient Atlantean problem was that they were dealing with a lot of like what we are dealing with now. Like a lot of what we're repeating karmically has to do with the fall of Atlantis, esoterically. And I can make a whole video about this and what I've learned about that and stuff over the years. But the Cliff's Notes version is like Atlantis fell due to the rise of the like distorted patriarchal templates and everything. And they had a similar path with like kind of over relying on technology and, you know, transhumanism and the whole fall of like our consciousness in the wake of that. But the root cause of patriarchy in many ways is the mother wound. So it actually makes a total amount of sense to me of what I was talking about earlier about how we're going through a bit of a detox of the distorted feminine energy and the mother wound, because that is like kind of at the core of what a lot of those fallen Atlantean templates were dealing with. And if we can get to the root of that, we can really do some multidimensional healing on that level and resolve some of those fallen timelines and stuff, like through our own experience and healing of our past lives and stuff like that. This True Compassion is giving like Ho'oponopono prayer vibes, which is like the way that you are able to clear karma in a very efficient way. Like I would say if you're not doing Kriya Yoga, like the next best thing would probably be like a practice of Ho'oponopono prayer and kind of using it as a mantra continuously to be able to clear a lot of these things from your field. If you're feeling like a lot of stuff come up like emotionally, it's probably not just rooted in this lifetime. It's probably rooted in lifetimes like from the ancient past that are coming up that are getting kind of wrapped up with all of this right now. And it really makes you wonder about this election, to be quite honest. Like, you look at Donald Trump and just like, you take one look at his mother and you're like, oh, I know why he is the way he is, you know? It's like, oh God. Interestingly, also, we have the orange and the blue. And this is all about the sacral chakra and the throat chakra axis, which is where the eclipse nodes are. So, and because Rahu is in Uttara Bhadrapada right now, which has a lot to do with the earth grid, like this is a very deep purge of like earth grid energies. So, I will say that it's a good time to really be compassionate towards people who are unconscious, but at the same time, like, be firm in your boundaries around, like, you know, who you want in your field and who you don't want in your field and stuff like that, and really leave behind the past and stuff, and like breaking ties, karmic ties, breaking karmic patterns of behavior on your own, in your own relationship to yourself. And but it's important to not have shame around that with yourself or other people, and really just like show up with an open heart and be in that compassion space, because ultimately we are all here to just be learning on Earth School. And this is just the latest in, you know, many, many eons of chapters of our lives and everything like that. Like, Sans the Hourglass vibes. The Ho'oponopono prayer is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. That's it. And all you gotta do is repeat that, like, a lot if you're going through it. It really does help. At the bottom of the decks, we have Four of Swords in reverse. Again, this has popped up before recently. This is giving Hermit in reverse vibes too, where it's like we're shifting gears to be more active and outward facing from any kind of introspection that we have been delving deep into, and being more internalized in a certain way. So that's just kind of doubling down on that. With this card, we have Crocodile. It's kind of intense. And this is really about, like, be measured in your approach to the new chapter, and kind of, you know, meditate, take things a little bit slow. Like, you don't have to rush forward, even though it might feel like there's a lot of energy that indicates that. It's actually a really great time to just kind of like meditate, be aware that you're shifting gears, but know that, you know, it's a process, and to not rush forward just because you feel the energy is picking up. It's like, be intentional around what your actions are and kind of act from like a measured place, and be aware, because again, with this eye, it's like there are things that are still being revealed, and you don't want to like act prematurely on something when you know that there's like, that it's maybe not the right time to do something yet. Again, we have this receiving come up here, so it's like there are opportunities that want to be received by you, and this can be, of course, like emotional opportunities, creative opportunities, relationship, whatever it is, financial. Like, you might be hearing whispers of them, and you don't know if it's concrete, but it seems to me that they will crystallize more as time kind of goes on. Again, this transit goes till November 7th. We also have birth and expansion, and focus, and Bast independent. Your independence is a foundation for your strength and success. Some people during this eclipse season have becoming single, and others are carving out a new destiny for themselves in their career or in their creative life. They're kind of going solo in some way. This has a lot to do with the new moon and Swati energies that are going to be coming around with Libra season, where we're going to be feeling a lot of freedom vibes, like really wanting to carve out our own individual unique path and follow our heart through that, and give birth to ourselves and expand our lives through these like independent endeavors. And they're telling you to like focus on it. And this is all kind of like yellow energy. So there's a big kind of activation here of the solar plexus chakra, and I'm even kind of feeling it as I give this reading, although I did have 2 waffles with my coffee before I came on here, so it could be that. But I really do feel like because Venus rules the heart and it's going into the will center, the solar plexus, it's talking about bringing our true desires and of our heart and becoming intimate with those desires in ourselves and revealing those deeper truths about what it is that we want, and being able then to take practical action towards them and also receive aligned opportunities that are popping up that are in alignment with that, due to our ability to be honest with ourselves around what it is that we want in a certain sense as well. We also have embracing transition up here below that. So it's like, it's still a bit of a liminal time, I think, but there are going to be things that are crystallizing through revelation and through just the natural turning of the wheel of karma, and how we're breaking free of a lot of ancient patterns that stem back really farther than we could really even fathom of our current lifetime, and are allowing us to be free to create in a more aligned way that is going to be like true to who we are as a person and our integrity and our values. Because again, this is really deeply entwined with the Jupiter retrograde reading, so definitely check that out if you haven't yet. That's what I got for you for this reading for Venus in Scorpio. Again, my name is Serpentine, your guide through the game of life. If you liked this video, please like, share, subscribe, comment. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, and that's how you can help me if you want. Also, if you want to book a personal session with me, I do offer private sessions, one-on-one. You can find my offerings at mythichearts.com/levelup. And I also have some mini oracles for sale in my shop. So if you don't have enough money for a full session, or you want something just like a bit more concentrated, straight to the point, you can check out my shop, mythichearts.com/shop, and find some RPG item themed mini oracles. And also, I'm live on Twitch now 3 times a week. You can find me twitch.tv/Serpentine Rising here on Twitch. And I'm on Instagram at serpentine.rising and TikTok at serpentine.rising, and on X/Twitter, whatever it is, at Time Priestess. So that's where you can find me. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. But until then, may your heart lead on the path of destiny.